Welcome back to English Einsteins. I've helped many students increase their grades significantly as a teacher and tutor. I'm a GCSE examiner, so I know exactly what is needed for your exams. Make sure you watch the end to see my top tip for language paper 2. On that note, guys, if you want to invest in your education and proven strategies for English GCSE, email englisheinsteins@outlook.com. Back to the video then. This is for question 3. We're going to look at this extract here. It's a hanging of a murderer in 1840. Courvoisier bore his punishment like a man and walked very firmly. He was dressed in a new black suit, as it seemed. His shirt was open. His arms were tied in front of him. He opened his hands in a helpless kind of way and clasped them once or twice together. He turned his head here and there and looked about him for an instant with a wild, imploring look. His mouth was contracted into a sort of pitiful smile. He went and placed himself at once under the beam, with his face towards St. Sepulchre's. The tall, grave man in black twisted him round swiftly in the other direction, and, drawing from his pocket a nightcap, pulled it tight over the patient's head and face. I am not ashamed to say that I could look no more, but shut my eyes as the last dreadful act was going on which sent this wretched, guilty soul into the presence of God. Question 3 is language analysis. It's 12 marks, so I need to write at least 3 paragraphs for this question. So we're going to look at a few more quotes in more detail now. So Thackeray says that Courvoisier opened his hands in a helpless kind of way and clasped them once or twice together. In other words, maybe you could say he has a paucity of hope, which means a lack of hope. He's despairing and powerless. Next one, the verb clasped is unsettling because it suggests he's anxious and trepidatious, or perhaps praying for salvation. Thackeray describes Courvoisier as a wretched, guilty soul. In other words, he thinks Courvoisier deserves condemnation or damnation. The adjective wretched implies he finds the murderer barbaric, devilish, and monstrous. Thackeray states that Courvoisier was sent into the presence of God. Metaphorically, Thackeray means that he will receive eternal spiritual imprisonment or hell. Notice how we have included word types such as adjective, verbs, and techniques such as metaphorically for question 3, because we're doing language analysis. So for question 3, how does the writer use language to describe Courvoisier's execution? Thackeray chooses to depict Courvoisier's execution as unsettling. So we've answered the question really in the topic sentence there, but we need quotes to back it up. So for example, we can use the quote, open his hands in a helpless kind of way and clasp them once or twice together. And then you say, in other words, this shows here the paucity of hope and he's despairing. More specifically, the verb clasp suggests he's anxious and trepidatious because it seems as though he's praying for forgiveness.